Hi, all. Let me tell you a little story. Um, about 20 years ago, maybe a little bit more, you may remember, you may not. Gateway 2000 bought out the Commodore Amiga from after, I think it was after SCOM went bust. And they bought the entire thing. And this isn't a history lesson, I promise you. Um, and myself, Mick, Tinker, and Paul Nolan visited. And we had a product that we was trying to sell to them, which was the PCI Amiga card. And the idea of that card was it had a 6840 processor on it. It was going to plug into the high-end gateway PCs, have the Macintosh emulator, and basically allow them to make a Windows and Macintosh compatible desktop computer. We got quite a long way along with this, but unfortunately in the end they pulled the plug. Now, some of it's in David's book, and he's shameless plugging. I don't make anything from this, but it is actually good, and he was very kind and he put my story in it. But there's another side to this. Whilst our part of it went pear-shaped, a number of other people got in touch with him and did kind of side deals, did deals as well. One of them we know, Amiga Inc. We know about that story and the mess that's come from that. But there was another company, a company called Cloanto. Now, Michael Battalana, who I've known for 25, 30 years, went in and he purchased the rights to the classic operating system, so all the kickstarts, all of the workbench, and he got the rights to be able to distribute them. And he created a product called Amiga Forever. Now, when we was going to do ours, my idea was I wanted to have the Amiga operating system running on, at that time, x86. I've moved to ARM, I prefer ARM now, but at the time x86, because that offered the best bang for buck. And we obviously had to do this in hardware. There's no such thing as emulation. However, with the foresight that Michael had, he managed to get the rights to the classic OSs, and he kept them safe. So basically what you had then was a small company that had been developing Amiga software for a long time and had now got the safekeeping of all the classic side of the Amiga operating systems. And over the years, it's been turned into this Amiga Forever product. Now, there's obviously this is built on the work from the Bernd Schmidt, I'm going to get the names wrong, and Tony Willen, and a number of other people who built this fantastic Amiga emulator, culminating with WinUAE, which is amazing. And that software is absolutely fantastic, amazing. But of course, it'd be no good without the software, or a legitimate way of getting the software. Now, we all knew what we could do is we could get our discs. We all had discs, and we could do that, and we could rip the ROM, and we could etc. etc. But it was very difficult for the person who just wanted to be able to, who sold their Amiga, got rid of Amiga a long time ago, and wanted to be able to run Amiga software just for memory's sakes, or maybe for more interesting things. Or maybe play games. A lot of people play games, I know that. They now had an opportunity where they could buy officially the legal ROMs, got around all those problems. And it served us very well. You know, when he first got them, probably no one cared. But over time, it's become more and more important. Now, this is a product that you may or may not be aware that I'm doing, which is a case to look like the 3000. But one of the things that I'm trying to do with this is to be able to build, for people to build, there is obviously the classic Amiga ones. I mean, this is not an advert for my program, to build classic Amigas, but for the future, for people to be able to build a low-cost x86 based system with Amiga Forever sitting on top of either Windows or Linux. It's very easy for me. I can just, I can get access to this. I can purchase the licenses, etc. And now we can do this. I can include Amiga Forever. It's got everything it needs. You'll notice I've got Amiga here, which is much better looking than the version in the standard Amiga Forever. And it's absolutely wonderful. So we've got our classic ROMs, etc. sorted out. Now, I believe, this is my personal opinion, as you may be aware, Michael managed to get hold of the complete Amiga IP. And I personally think this is a great thing. And we now have the classic operating systems. We now have the Amiga name, rights, copyright, everything in the hands of Cloanto, or a separate company, however it's set up. However, there's obviously this problem. There's always been the problems between Hyperion, Cloanto, etc., etc. And these have rattled on for years, and I wish this would be resolved. But the reality is now we've got it in hands. Now, as I said, I've known Michael a long time, and I thought I was nuts about Amiga, but he's way worse than me. The one thing Michael's not very good at is communication. He's not very good at communication. So recently, since he managed to get the rights to the Amiga, there seems to be an absolute witch hunt for Michael. And it's really upset me, because whilst I don't know the ins and outs of him completely, I've known him a long time, and I know basically he's a good man. And he's trying to protect the Amiga's legacy and more. But he's doing it the way he knows how. But again, the communication. So what's happening? Because he's not communicating, there's this really big witch hunt now. And it's getting, to be honest, it's getting out of hand. I've tried to comment in the forums to just calm down, but people aren't. Certain people are really just getting over the top. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been speaking to Michael, and I've asked him if I can go and visit him. I'm going to fly to Italy. We've got an agreement on this. I'm going to fly to Italy, and I'm going to sit down with Michael with a couple of cameras, and I'm going to interview him, and we're going to talk about Amiga. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, but really importantly, it's also going to be a question and answer session. So the reason I'm doing this video now is I want questions from Amiga fans. I can spot the trolls. I'll just delete them. But there are lots of very good questions. I probably know most of them, but I want them to come from the public as well. And Michael, to the best of his ability, now do bear in mind, he's got a couple of court cases going on, which is why people think he's the devil incarnate. It's not quite what you think. So everybody's attacking him at the moment. So I'm going to go out there, I'm going to sit down with him with a list of your questions. And we're going to the best of his ability, bearing in mind legal restraints, he's going to answer the questions as well as he can. And we're going to talk more about him, his history, etc. We may even have a chat about the old days when because we used to do the shows together. In fact, funny thing is, I could be wrong about this, but I actually think that Michael and I are the last of the Amiga developers that are doing products still. Now, I did have a break, obviously, for a number of years, but I've been supporting AROS since 2008 and this new product, etc. So I think we might be the last two of the originals, although I'm quite happy for someone to come up and go, oh, Mum's still doing, And we're going to sit down, we're going to have a chat about the old days, we're going to chat about everything, but also he's going to be as honest as he can. He's going to give his opinions on everything and answer your questions. There will be times where he has to be careful what he says, and that's completely understandable. So send in your questions, and I've given you did I give you the email address? steve@amiga.net. Okay, send them in to me. If you put them in I will look through, but send them to there, because I know you're serious about wanting to do this. in case you think some of you are going to probably turn around and have a go at me, I don't care. I don't care. But if you think I'm just kissing to Michael, I ain't. Read the bloody book, okay? I have a go at him and Hyperion in here over the whole Raspberry Pi Foundation thing. But I will say one thing for Michael. I said all I got was excuses from Cloanto and Hyperion. That was wrong. I would change the word to disappointment. So instead of excuses, change that one word to disappointment, because I was disappointed with the outcome. Apart from that, I stand by what I said. So I've had a moan at him as well, okay, but about a specific thing. But it's not a have a go at Michael generally. It's just one thing for me. But other people seem to think he's the devil. And really, no, he's just a bloke who loves Amigas and he's doing what he thinks is the best. Now we can argue that some of the things maybe not right or wrong. It could be your understanding of what's actually happening is actually wrong, because a lot of people have got it all completely wrong. There was a couple of bits that came up. I know that I'm going to talk to him, but this won't be one of the questions I'm going to give him. What happened with the 8-bit guy? But again, things aren't always as clear cut as you might think. And there is some really good documentation out there as far as the other people involved in this whole mess. Things aren't always what they seem to be. So, get questions in. I will, as I said, I'm going to go see him in a couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll answer all the questions and hopefully give you a more of a feel for Michael and just to understand who he is, what he's about, and try and be more positive, because I actually do think I am actually quite positive about the future. That's basically it. Hopefully, because I like to talk. So God knows how long this video with Michael's going to go on for. But Michael's rubbish at communication, to be fair. So this may be a bit of a first. Let's see what happens with it, and I'll come back to you soon. But as I said, I make the same after this. I'm going to do the same thing for Hyperion if they're interested. Sit down with them and just chat, because at the end of the day, talking is good. And if you you won't learn everything. You're not going to get all your answers, but hopefully you get a lot of your answers, and you'll get a better understanding about Michael. Anyway, speak to you soon. Thanks very much.